No, I've been working on this car for, as I said, for nearly 50 years. I bought it in 1962 and started racing it in 1963. And
this one particular
this car, yeah, in England. So I raced it at Silverstone, which was my home track, and Brands Hatch, Alton Park, places like that. But a lot of MG meetings, but also regular club meets. There wasn't such a thing back then as vintage racing. And then I just completed a restoration of this over the last, I finished it about 7 or 8 years ago, I suppose.
Now, you've done all the work on this?
Everything. I didn't paint it, because you can't paint very easily, so I took it to a painter. But I built the wooden body tub, and then skinned it. These are the original doors. But all this wood that goes in the body, if you use it in England where you know it rains all the time, absolutely. When you buy a used car, this wood doesn't exist. It's all rotted away. So I replaced all this wood and the metal with it. But in the car's relatively like it was in 1965. I restored it to its 1965 condition, but I put a whole lot of safety features into it that we didn't have back then. We didn't have driving suits or even seat belts back then. So or crash helmets that had to comply to a certain safety standard.
Now what year was this built?
49.
49.
Yeah, May of 49. Yep.
Get very far. We threw everything we had at it, and then it wouldn't start. So we started putting the old parts back on, and we got it to run. But we're really not where we want to be. We're nowhere near the potential of the car, and it's always a mistake to come to one of these big race weekends with an unsorted car because there's not a lot of time for test and tune. But we're having fun. The cars we're on the track with are spectacular, and there's no better place to watch than from the seat of another car. So we're having a great time, but we've spent a lot of time under the hood and not enough time looking around and socializing. As we went out for the last session, the batteries decided to quit. So we pump started it, and I guess I made 3/4 of the session, and then we ran out on the uphill. So ran out of battery and coasted in. So never a dull moment. Well, I think I told you, Will's older brother and I drove this car from Clearwater to Watkins Glen. We raced. We started 38th, we finished 24th, and then Will and I drove back to Clearwater. We've also driven it to Mount Equinox in Vermont and competed there. This car, yeah.
This car.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of fun with it. It's even more.
You've done all the mechanics yourself.
Well, yeah. Everything. What we haven't done, we didn't do the paint. Yeah. We didn't do the upholstery. And we didn't do the internal machine work on the engine. I've done all this stuff you see outside. I fabricated it myself, but I don't have the tools and the equipment to do the precise work on the inside of the engine. But yeah, and all the body work. In fact, this car, actually, interesting story, had 23,000 miles on it when we got it. It was a roller, had a complete tub, but the engine and fenders and so on weren't installed. We went to start working on it, and we found that it had been hit probably in 1958 when it was last registered, and hit real hard, and the cowling at the back of the hood was out of square by 1.5 inches, and you couldn't fit the doors, and you couldn't put a hood on it. So I actually rebuilt the body tub, and at that point, that was where it started to become a race car rather than AACA car, you know. And when I started having to do that, I said, you know, it's no longer precisely as it came from Abingdon. It can be a race car. So, yeah, a lot of work on it, and a lot of fun.
You haven't done any diagnosis on your car.
Oh, there's the stuff. Well, no, don't go too far.
I want to see which way it's traveling.
We're only looking, what are we looking here? We're looking 3 hours out. 2:20, it's 9:20, so we're 3 hours out, so that big shit isn't going to get here. The little shit might. The big shit will be here when we start trying to load up. We're trying to figure out whether to go wet setup or not. And
Is it different tires?
well, yeah, actually, that's the whole. The full boat is different tires. We soften the rear shocks, which are adjustable, and we soften the front sway bar, which by just simply changing the end lengths from the hard urethane to soft rubber combination. So what that does, the way the car is set now, when you turn in, it bites hard, and in the rain, that tends to translate into goodbye. So the rain setup softens everything up. Michael Schumacher said,
Well, the other thing is,
the car talks to me, but in the rain, it whispers.
I see some of these guys are leading, they think, I'm going to lead ahead. Coming down the street, they start leading.
Well, you made it.
Well, you get a chance to.
It still doesn't run very well, but I had a lot of fun. Very, you know, very close racing with a couple of.
I shot from the side pit there just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, the point about vintage racing is it's not winning. If you've got to win, you really ought to do something else. But it is extremely important to the racers to have somebody to race with. And if you've got somebody to race with, whether you finish ahead of them or right on their bumper, you've had a good time.
We decided to not go with a wet setup.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, we decided that we're gonna make the race before it starts to downpour. So
We were watching the NOAA satellite where they can loop. You will see, we see the clouds with the rain, and it's just to the west of us. Hoping it stays there.
Wow. Not too bad. This is when the coops are nice.
Something about weekends and weather lately in New England, of course. So many of you rode out Hurricane Irene last weekend. I know that there were places in Connecticut that were still without electrical power as at the end of the week.
Well, you get some great pictures in the rain, but you have to stay dry.
Okay, ready?
Wide open.
And 140.
135 and 3140.
Well, that's good news. I mean, it still doesn't solve our problem, but at least it means we haven't blowed it up yet.
as soon as they walk. What's your engines?
All right.
We still
It's
need-
got
we still
that.
need to,
It's got that other distributor on there. The Lucas distributor, right?
Yeah, we borrowed the Lucas one.
Yeah, there it is. That's interesting. What do I drive? My daily driver? I have a 71 MGB that I drive for fun. That George and his family put a new engine in for me, a new transmission, and we found it literally in a field in northeast Connecticut. Yeah, painted with a brush, I think. And George and Nick and Will came up one summer for a couple of days and sanded it all down and gave it a quick paint job. It looks great. Really fun to drive. Okay, George.
Hey. Good to go? I hope so.
What are the two hose clamps doing on the header?
Oh, that's where the EGT sensors were.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
I was thinking that could be what is rattling around, but they're tight. So.
Yeah.
So what did you loosen up when you took out the distributor?
Everything on that side, but
That isn't tight enough yet.
we checked it all like 3 or 4 times and switched it out again.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had
No, but
4
something-
different distributors in there, 5 different times.
We've picked up a funny noise. Not a good noise, not a really bad noise, but a noise that we hope goes away and doesn't become a bad noise. Yeah. If we had a steel fan on it, it'd sound like something was hitting the fan, but we don't. So,
And it's not a whisper.
no, it's not a. It sounds like. It sounds like sticking a putty knife in the fan, but it just for a second, and then it's gone. You know, so it's high pitched. It's not rod type noise. We pulled the covers off and looked at everything, and I used the dowel on the block, the dowel on the water pump. So, yeah. Well, the course of conservatism would be not to run, but. I think we're gonna try to go gently and see what transpires. So, of course, when a racer says he's gonna try to go gently, well, if it continues to run poopy, I think we'll probably cut it short.
Joe mentioned plungers in the carbs.
Carburetor dampers, you okay running without them?
Yeah. Could that be a noise? No.
Not, I mean, you know, you never say anything absolutely is or isn't until you have the smoking pieces on the floor, but I don't think so. Possible, but not likely. Thanks, Phil.
still with Barry, because he'll probably actually get back.
Well, they're going to come around. I'm going to try to get some really rough times, see if he's doing better. His best time last time was 121. So they'll come around here, the pace cars will pull in and then they'll take off. I'll get him on a second lap. I can only do every other lap with my little clunky little thing here. It's something. You'll want to know. I hope it works for him.
He's having a good time.
Oh, yeah. It's always something.
Seems like it.
You know, it's always, the brain's working, and he's going through all the different things it could do. He's taking that motor to places that MG never expected, and you know, so a lot of it is his own thought process. And of course, he checks with, you know, people he knows, who he trusts, and come to a consensus and give it a try.
was it?
121, that was his best lap. That was his last lap, last session, was his best lap. His first couple of laps were way high. So this is good. See if he can get it better. I'm sure he'd like to break 120. Second, 120 now. Close. You got a second off of it. One more second. Oh, wait a minute. We got checkered flag. Ah, he's coming in. Darn it. That was short. Good lap. Maybe he could have gotten down below 120. That's the fastest time he's had. Yeah, something happens. When those tow trucks go out on the tracks, they got to bring somebody in. Hopefully it's just a breakdown. Coming in a minute.
And we finally got pretty close. So it was all worth it, and we finished every session.